Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Gary, hello. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I know I promised I was going to do this the other night, but I ended up getting delayed due to editing. Hey there, Amanda. Welcome to the live stream. Linda, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining. So I figured I'd hop on and hang out for a little bit here tonight. And yeah, just let you know what was going on, update you all on the situation, let you know what to expect as in 539 episodes that's going to be coming out here in the future. So we'll be talking about that here later on. And yeah, anything else that you want to talk about, any questions you have, things like that. But yeah, I already shared it on Instagram here. I don't think I'm going to share it anywhere else, but we'll just see who kind of trickles in here as time goes on. But hope everybody's day is going well. Hopefully you're safe out there. And hey there, Jenny. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining here. Hope you're having a good night. But yeah, as you can see, I'm here at the command center. Been editing a lot. Been getting a lot done too. Got another episode coming here on the regular Saturday. So Saturday at probably around 8 or 9, depending on where you are in the world, obviously. So that's going to be Eastern Standard Time. So look out for that. I actually did go out and film some stuff that wasn't necessarily cemetery or graveyard related. So that's going to be coming out on the channel. We're going to be doing some more exploring here of a ghost town that we did a while back. Not the Kentucky ghost town, but a ghost town that was flooded by a reservoir known as Monument City. And we're going to be heading back there here soon on the 539 channel and checking out that location and finding even more ruins from the area that I had never found before. So that's pretty cool. And I even found like an old abandoned bridge way out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll be checking out that, and then we'll be checking out even some more graveyards and stuff. So we should be almost completely filled to the 2-week max here, and then we might have one episode where we do like a top 10 or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do at this point, but we'll figure out something, that's for sure. So yeah, for the moment I'm pretty much at home, gonna be here for the next 2 weeks as of Wednesday. So wanted to make sure that I was able to cover that 2-week period with the episodes. So of course I went out, like I've said before, and filmed in the middle of nowhere, where I was safe and away from a lot of people and away from pretty much everyone altogether, and filmed a few episodes out there. And then yeah, been back and editing that here, and that's again what delayed the episodes coming out, or not the episodes coming out, excuse me, the live streams starting at the very beginning on Wednesday instead of tonight. So yeah, that is the official update. So again, I am going to try and do live streams a little bit more often during this whole 2-week period. So I might be doing one daily. I might be doing one every other day. I'm not really 100% sure. Just depends on if I can find any type of unique content to really do. If I can figure out any way to actually entertain and not just sit and talk at a camera. So we'll see how it goes. I've had a few ideas. I might be ordering a camera for the main computer so that I can do live streams from that again, instead of dealing with the subpar onboard camera that I had been having to deal with for a while, just because for whatever reason they decided to stop working with the iPhone. And so that's why tonight I'm once again streaming from the iPhone instead of streaming from my typical OBS setup here on the Mac. I'm not really sure what is going on. I need to diagnosed the issue with the iPhone, and I just didn't really have the time thus far, so that's why we're switching over just for the moment. So yeah, so I'm trying to think of the idea. I might be trying to do. My thoughts were to maybe do some video calls with different people. I haven't run that by anybody yet, so I'm not really sure how that's going to go. But obviously, I have a lot of friends in different areas of the country, and I thought maybe it might be kind of interesting to catch up with some of them via video chat and sort of share that with you guys and take your questions or talk about our previous experiences collaborating, something like that. Trying to think of my other ideas. I didn't have a whole lot, honestly. I don't have a whole lot of options at this point in the game. Yeah, I thought it sounded like fun. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I don't know who all is going to be available or what they're going to be doing or what their current status is in their area. So I'm going to have to check in with some people and see how that would work out. But I thought that might be kind of fun. So, hey there, welcome from Salt Lake City. Drove through Salt Lake City when I was doing my California trip and my Nevada trip. Had a lot of fun. Very cool place. Although I heard you guys got hit recently by an earthquake, so that kind of sucks. But hopefully you're doing all right. Well, yeah. Yeah, maybe after all this is over too, I'm gonna have to do like a longer trip or something because I feel like after all this time sort of on lockdown and being advised not to travel, and it'll be nice to maybe go on something a little bit longer, do maybe a trip back out west or something like that, maybe go back out to Vegas, maybe, I'm not sure. I've got a few ideas in mind. It just depends on when all of this sort of ends and I can hit the road again. So we'll see. But I feel like it sort of warrants, if I'm not allowed to take a lot of smaller trips in the meantime, to maybe take a lot longer trip at the end of this all. So that might be in the works here. As I think I mentioned last time, I might, excuse me, I think I mentioned last time that I might be taking Route 66 out at some point, and possibly meeting up with some people, possibly heading out, like I said, to Vegas again. Obviously, that'd be another way to get out there and head that direction. It was one of the ways I was actually planning to do last time. I was going to take, I originally had taken 80 out last time, and I was going to take Route 66 back, but then I ended up having issues with my driver's license. Not really issues, but I had to renew my driver's license, and so it was one of the years that I couldn't do it online for some reason, and so I had to head all the way back home and renew my license. Otherwise, I would have been out on the road illegally. So I had to cut the trip a little bit short. Otherwise, I would have been out on the road a little bit longer, but probably no more than a week. So, but I was out for probably around 3 weeks. So, and about a 5,000 trip, 5,000 mile round trip, excuse me. So, I don't know if I'll be going quite that far this next time. I do have some trips that are a little bit further than that I'd like to go at some point, but I don't think it's going to be probably not this year, maybe next year. I like to do some more cross-country type stuff, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for the moment, just pretty much stuck on the inside and doing mostly editing work here at the command center. So again, going to be trying to take a lot of time to hang out with all of you guys and doing this a little bit more. We'll see how the live streaming goes. Again, seems like we're not hitting our normal numbers, so that's a little strange. It might just be because of the increased activity online. A lot of people are out there streaming. A lot of uh, far more popular channels obviously are out there streaming, so it might be some of that that's causing slightly altered numbers. Hey there, Drew. Welcome to the live stream. Good to have you. But yeah, I've kind of noticed that we were back when I was in Indianapolis, we were hitting about an average of, I guess not average, but we were hitting anywhere from like 25 to 35, we'll say, constant viewers. And ever since all this started happening, we've been down to like between like 10 to 20, maybe something like that. Oh, thank you, Linda. Hey there, Reverend. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, the internet. Yeah, it is interesting to think about how this has an effect on the internet and the speed that everybody's getting. So I hope the quality is good. Hey there, Jonathan. Welcome to the live stream. But yeah, if you're enjoying the live stream, yeah, hopefully not everybody's getting the buffering issues. That sucks. But yeah, if you are enjoying, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share if you get the chance. If you have Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, so that we can reach a little bit new of an audience out there. Get a few new fans potentially. Introduce some new people to the 539 channel maybe. Yeah. But yeah, kind of in good news, it is giving me a lot more incentive to kind of hunker down and just edit and stay busy. Been trying to do a lot of Instagram, so if you guys haven't checked out some of the Instagram stuff, make sure you check that out. Been doing somewhat of a mix between brand new stuff that I've been doing recently and also older stuff that has not been on the page for quite a while. So I've been trying to showcase some of my better work that I've done over the years, some of my black and white work, some of my selective color work, stuff like that. So make sure to check that out. Excuse me. See, I gotta get the mute stuff worked out for this. It's a little bit harder on this setup here. Or honestly, like I said, I need to get that camera so that I can start streaming back from the computer again. Hopefully it works out all right. Doesn't cause too much of an expense or anything like that. That's kind of what I'm worried about. Like, I kind of want to upgrade the computer at a certain point anyway. And if I upgrade the computer, then my setup's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to take some of the maybe cost cuts that I would take with this particular unit, just because it's a little bit cheaper, a little bit older. And so if I upgrade, I'll probably spend a little bit more money on a nicer setup, some sort of high rate capture card where I could hook up any sort of camera to it that I wanted. Yeah, it's really different to see how, I mean, such a busy nation is kind of slowed to a crawl. Yeah, you never know, Drew. It is possible. Sometimes they start out slow. But I think, again, some of it's just the increased activity online here. There's not as many people that get routed in, so we don't get as many random viewers. But many thanks to everybody that is here. I really appreciate everybody being here. You really never know. I mean, it just depends on your anything from your local internet to your regional providers, things like that. There could be slowdowns anywhere and everywhere. So it just depends on how they're doing with this whole stuff going on right now. So you never really know. Hey there, Craig. Good to have you. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't have a good view towards my main road, but there hasn't been a whole lot out today that I've seen. But every once in a while, you do see somebody drive by. Hey there, Kathy. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, definitely less. But I definitely have seen some traffic here and there. But like I said, I don't have a perfect view of traffic, but there's a few windows here and there that are looking out at the main road. And I did kind of take notice here earlier and saw maybe two or three cars, but again, it is still okay out, at least here, to get out and go shopping and get supplies and get gas and things like that. Hey there, April. Welcome. Good to have you. So yeah, I mean, it's not 100% like they're gonna hassle you just for getting out. Not in this area anyway. It's not quite as serious here, so they're a little bit more lenient in terms of, if you need to get out and get food, or if you need to run to the gas station and pick something up, they don't really mind. So I try not to. I haven't really been out. I don't think at all since that happened. So I'm gonna try and keep it that way as long as possible. Yeah, I'm trying not to worry, but just sort of stay prepared as possible. I try not to dwell on it. Try not to really focus too much on the news. I just try to do the best possible job I can to protect myself and make sure that I'm away from other people. And in doing so, hopefully, I am, just staying as safe as possible. And so I don't have to really focus too much attention on every little detail. Yeah, I've heard they're not discouraging getting outdoors to like walk or going to like sort of out of the way areas like natural areas, stuff like that. So technically, I probably still could film, but for the most part, I'm going to try and stay home and yeah, sort of distance myself. Even though technically going out in the middle of the country and filming away from absolutely everyone would be distancing too. So yeah, I haven't been anywhere, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the stores are doing right now. As uh, many photos as I saw earlier of the crisis with all the shelves being bare. So it'd be interesting to see how they're doing now. I think technically it's an order, but it's sort of a loose order. Like um, they're really advising that you stay inside, other than if you absolutely need to go somewhere and do something. But I think that excludes like outdoor locations. So like if you're gonna go to like say like a natural area, like some of the parks that we've been in where almost no one really goes, something like that, then they're not gonna hassle you about it. But like in terms of like going to public type areas where there's going to be a lot of people, it's only necessity. So I guess it's sort of like a mix, but it is a mandate. So I think there's some sort of fine you can incur if they find that you're out doing stuff that's not really necessary. But again, like from what I've been told, if you're out like somewhere like in a natural area, just sort of walking by yourself, um, then that's not discouraged. Hey there, Jerry. Jerry, excuse me. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So yeah, I guess if we got desperate, I really could go out and film. But again, like I guess every time you go out on the road, there's that certain potential, that certain risk that you could have to encounter somebody for whatever reason. So I am trying to stay off the road as much as possible. Yeah, under a mandate, it's probably more likely that they're going to fine you because anything else would sort of defeat the purpose. If they took you anywhere, then you're not social distancing anymore. So it seems unlikely that they would do anything else than fine you. Otherwise, again, it just defeats the entire purpose of the idea of shelter in place. So, I don't think there's going to be. Although I have heard that they've threatened other actions in some states, but I don't really know here. So who knows? But it seems more efficient at any rate to just do a fine system. That way, it's sort of a deterrent for everybody, but yet at the same time doesn't cause any situations where they're actually collecting people together. So, yeah, I just don't think any other scenario would be very smart, but you never know. You can't really tell. I mean, it's different in every single state and every single city, so just gotta be on the lookout for what's going on in your area. But I think the best thing to do is for just everybody to stay home. Period. I mean, honestly, had we all stayed home earlier, it probably would have been a lot less impact anyway. So that's the important thing to realize is that no matter what your individual scenario is, the less that you go out, the less that you travel around, the fewer people you see, the less impact you're going to have on everybody else, and the less impact everybody else is going to have on you. So, I mean, it's just the smart thing to do. Yeah, and again, I just think it's just smart for everybody, though. So, yeah, just, I mean, we all look for an opportunity every once in a while well, at least some of us look for the opportunity every once in a while to relax and take some time off. And what better opportunity and excuse than being told to do so and doing so for the health of everybody else around you. So, I mean, relax and wait it out. But I mean, I know it's a lot more complex for some people in this situation, so not to make light of those more complex situations. But if you do have the ability to do it, then for sure, just take that opportunity to relax and stay put. But yeah, I didn't want to make this whole stream about that situation though. I did just want to come on here and hang out and talk shop about things like 539 and travel and all that too. And again, update you on what the plans are as soon as all of this is over. Like I said, about taking a little bit bigger of a trip or something like that. Also, still trying to work in some different styles of videos too. Some different concepts, like some more multi-part series, maybe less destination-oriented series and more travel-oriented series where we're sort of hitting maybe multiple locations in a single video as we like travel a certain predefined route. Like one of my ideas was to do like a loop around Lake Michigan and to do multiple locations each leg of the venture and do like, I don't know, I don't really know how many parts it would take to do it, but to do sort of a maybe 5 to 6 part series of like starting on like the east end of Chicago and then going up all the way around to the west end of Chicago and filming the different like wild areas, the different lighthouses, different sort of views from the lake and whatnot, and obviously there's like different like islands and things like that where I could like go out and visit that and video or excuse me record episodes doing like that sort of like tangent episodes, and then just sort of explore the differences between the different areas that the lake borders. I mean, obviously there's the lower peninsula of Michigan, there's the upper peninsula, and then there's Wisconsin and Illinois and Indiana, and so they all have their slightly different take on what happens at the shoreline, and I think it'd be kind of interesting to sort of circumvent that and document the process, but I'm not sure how well it would do on the channel. Sometimes, again, when I veer off course anymore, the views drop drastically. So it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen. So I try to, for a certain period, film stuff that I know people are really going to like, and that I know is going to do a little bit better view wise, and then I'll interject something in there that I really enjoy and that I really wanted to check out and see how well it does. And then if it does well, then I let it stay, and if it doesn't do well, then I will take it out, just so it doesn't too negatively affect my numbers or whatnot. So I do have to obviously be a little bit protective of the channel. It's a little bit more complex here. It is for sure a lot more complicated right now than it was a long time ago. That's for sure. It's a lot harder to get views. It's a lot harder to get subscribers. I came in just at the beginning of the changes, so yeah, I think it's an interesting medium that I can share my travels with people, and that people that maybe never, excuse me, might never ever travel to the areas that I'm going can still experience it and see what it's like. So yeah, it's kind of interesting an interesting phenomenon and an interesting time that we live in. So yeah, and it's kind of sad, but again, some of the YouTube content gets pushed more towards sort of, and not to judge anybody out there that's getting on the trending list, but just a certain type of video sort of always seems to make it on the trending list, and often these channels that work really hard to do like content like the travel content that I do on my 539 channel often get suppressed in the views, just because the algorithm sees other things or sees people that also do the videos that went viral before they did them, if that makes sense. And so often channels like this one and the 539 channel get sort of the tail end of the views, the views that are left over, if you will. So it's kind of unfortunate, but you can have these channels with an otherwise fairly decent amount of subscribers, and it seems like they're fighting for views. Even this channel here, having well over 1,000 subscribers, and still having obviously with the live stuff, I kind of understand that a little bit more, but like with the videos, to really be fighting for like a couple hundred views seems kind of strange, especially considering my experience back when I first started on YouTube. At a certain point, I could almost guarantee that whatever subscriber count that I had, I would at least come to that number of views, and usually within the first day or so. So like, when I had like 700 subscribers, I could guarantee I would get at least 700 views, and maybe more, maybe a little bit less, but for the most part, every video was guaranteed almost that amount, or somewhere in that ballpark. And yeah, at a certain point, it was like a sheer drop off, and it was like I saw it not just on my channel, but on a lot of channels where now you can only guarantee yourself a small fraction of the number of subscribers that you have, and YouTube really wasn't going to promote your content even to those very subscribers. And if they click on the notification bell, then it will sometimes promote it to those people, but then sometimes not. No matter which, whether you choose to get all notifications or whether you choose to get some notifications, it won't always work. So that's an interesting environment that they've grown here. Although, again, I really still do like YouTube. I mean, it is a great platform. I think a great place where people who might otherwise go unnoticed by the industry can create something for themselves here on YouTube and create a business and release great content to a lot of really cool people that want to watch, and now on multiple different devices, including you know the television, which is now maybe one of the greatest things, because for years people that were releasing on YouTube, maybe it was their dream to once or to someday get on television, and now any one of us can be on TV at any given time, and so that's really kind of interesting. So I am very much a supporter of the platform, but it is just going in a direction right now that's not necessarily pro creator all the time, as can be easily seen by some of the problems that I've had even with the second channel here. It was honestly very much even more popular as or in its younger days itself. I know the videos did a lot, like when I did independent episodes, they did a lot better when I first started out. I could guarantee, when I had maybe like less than 1,000 subscribers, maybe I had like 700-800 subscribers, I could guarantee getting at least like 400 or 500 views on a video. And now if I release a video, I'd be hoping for like 150, maybe 200. The live streams do a little bit better, which is kind of odd because when I do live streams on 539, it actually does a lot of damage to the channel for some reason. I don't really know. There's kind of these weird rules that only apply to certain channels. It's like the algorithm kind of has this weird way of forcing you to release a certain amount of videos and a certain type of videos. And once you get into that routine, you can't break that routine. Otherwise, you'll get punished by the algorithm, and your video won't get promoted as much. So. I appreciate you guys. I'm not really trying to complain or anything like that. Just more explaining the situation, because it is kind of strange, just knowing that at a certain point you're doing a lot better, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like you don't. But again, I understand it right now, just because again, there's an overwhelming amount of people that are just at home right now and hanging out online, and as many of them as are just viewers, as there's a lot of people out there who are also creators, and so there's a lot more to choose from, and it's harder for the algorithm to sort of route everybody. So I'm not being completely negative about it. Hey there, Faye. Yeah, wildlife and the outdoorsy stuff is really cool. I like some of the prepping stuff too. I'm sure some of the preppers are happy that they prepped right now. So it's kind of a interesting phenomenon that they're probably having an easier time. I'm happy, Drew. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to come on here more often. Even though it's not the greatest excuse, to have at least a excuse to get on here and do it more often. So I'm going to definitely take advantage of that. Maybe doing it more will also help the channel a little bit, because I have taken a few unnecessarily long breaks here, so some of it is my fault too. Yeah, there's lots of cool places in both the not both, but in the Michigan side, the Indiana side, like I said, and the Wisconsin side and Illinois side. So I mean, a lot to see. Obviously, there's all of Chicago, and then there's, like I said, the lighthouses and all that. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. I just hope that all this is over by sometime doable this year, so I can actually get out there and finish out the year in travel. Well, thanks, April. Yeah, I appreciate that. Let me know. Yeah, however you want to take in the content is awesome, and I'm happy to know that a few people out there find it relaxing enough to either fall asleep to or listen to in the background. However you want to do it is fine with me. Yeah, I'm not a prepper, but like at the same time, I think it's, you know, there's a difference. I think between being a full-on prepper and just being prepared for an emergency. But I think there's something very important about everybody being at least prepared for a small emergency and being able to support themselves for a little bit of time. So whether you're out there preparing for years or you're digging an underground bunker or you're preparing for doomsday or whatever it is, you can at least be prepared for a 2-week period like this where you're off the roads and not able to travel. So, I think there's a certain level of prepared that everybody should be, for sure. I actually was trying to get a different microphone tonight, but I couldn't figure out a really stable, stable way to hook it up yet. So I'm gonna have to work on that. But I did have a actual mic stand that I was gonna hook a microphone up to, and then I had it was a Bluetooth one, so I can hook it up to the iPhone. So maybe next time, we'll see. 3 months ain't bad. That's doable. But yeah, I think that's a lot more than most people out there. So I mean, something to be proud of at the very least. Yeah, let's hope not, Drew. I mean, I'm really hoping that they're going to get this under control soon, for everybody's sake. Night, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us. Oh, hopefully I didn't go. Oh yeah, I think I did pause. My apologies, everybody. I was trying to do a share and it paused the entire stream, or at least it appeared like it did. I don't know what it did on your end, but from my end it looked like it paused everything. It even gave me the little hey, you're live notification. So my apologies if there was an interruption on your end. Yeah, it shot me off the Twitter. And for whatever reason, the YouTube app will not, I guess it's probably for security precautions, but the YouTube app will not stream when you exit the app. Not exit the app, but you switch apps. So if I hit share, it actually physically pauses the stream until I come back. So it's unfortunate, but I tried it and it failed. But it was worth a try. But yeah, trying to think of stuff to do. I don't know if music's going to be a real possibility this time through. I thought about a few different ideas. If I could get some different things hooked up that I might be able to do. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to try something, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it working in time. I have to get one of my guitars repaired and get another piece of electronics that I have set up and a little effects pedal that I have. If I can do that, I might be able to do something. Somebody else taking off? Not a new one, just one I'm using for the moment. No, the Focus will be back. I'm probably going to do some work on it here. I don't really know what all is going to be done. We'll see how it goes. I have a few things to check out before I decide, but I would like to eventually get all the work done that I said I was going to get done last year, done to it finally. I want to get it repainted with the bed liner, and I'm going to mess around with the suspension, and then I'm going to try and put like a touchscreen interface in it with like navigation and all that. And yeah, and then whenever eventually the engine or transmission give out, I'll just put something brand new in it instead of buying something new, and then focus on potentially getting a sort of fun like alternative vehicle that I could use as sort of like a summertime travel vehicle instead of trying to get like a brand new car. So there's a few things that I'd like to get a little bit better than just getting a new car. So I'm thinking maybe to go that avenue and just sort of use the skills I've already acquired in the past to, modify this one sufficiently to make it kind of fun to drive around and travel in if necessary. And again, like I said, to get something like a open air vehicle, not like a motorcycle, but something sort of alternative to travel in, and maybe do some of those longer cross country trips in it. So yeah, but again, it just kind of depends on how everything goes. I really don't know how this year is going to go. I don't really know when we're going to be through all this, and so that's kind of the place that we're at right now, is that I can't really make any decisions like that because there's really no reason to. I'm not going anywhere. So obviously I'll be in between the lockdowns. Who knows if this will be the last, but in between I'll be trying to get out there and do a few things here and there, a few filming trips here and there, a few trips to get like some photographs for Instagram, things like that, and trying to stay busy, stuff like that, like I did this time, and luckily got almost enough content to cover the entire time. I might have one, like I said, like top 10 video that I'm going to be doing, but other than that, I have pretty much the entire lockdown period covered with content. So when this lockdown period is up, I'll run out and try to get a few more locally, obviously, stuff I don't have to do where I have to do an overnight trip. I'm still not going to be heading out to hotels or anything like that. So yeah, for the time being, it's just going to be wherever I can drive to, film, and then come home. So it's kind of unfortunate again, because I do like to go on the longer trips and go out of state. And again, was trying to use this year to collect some of those states that I never had filmed in before. Some of the states that I never haven't even or never have even been to before. So that's sort of a bummer that I'm not going to be able to do that. But at the same time, safety is safety. So I'm going to do what I have to do. So yeah. Yeah, I'm actually looking for something used, but I'm just looking for the cars that I like are somewhat not really expensive, but somewhat rare, and so it's kind of interesting acquiring and yeah, I don't know. It's just a interesting process. So yeah, I'm trying to work out a few things, but I also like modifying cars, so I'd also like to, again, keep the focus as like a daily driver and just sort of mess around with it so it looks cool, and already drives pretty well and has pretty good gas mileage, so it's not like it's a big deal. So I'll keep that around and just modify it to the point where it's an interesting car. CRVs, yeah, I'm familiar with those. Never driven one though. But yeah, I know Honda has pretty good reputation for making good vehicles. There are some inherent risk in buying new. You know, if you buy something slightly used, you know that whatever quirks or kinks or defective parts that were sold with it are already fixed. Somebody's already had to deal with that. So, yeah, there's something sort of like the even with like Apple products. A lot of times people recommend that you buy like the Apple refurbished products because people buy them, figure out what's wrong with them, send them back to Apple, get them refurbished, get them tested, and they're actually more reliable statistically than the brand new product. So, yeah, there is something to be said for buying used, but I mean, it depends on the platform. The platform I'm going for is more of a custom platform anyway, so buying used is whatever, whatever happens, I'm going to end up modifying it to a certain degree anyway. It's what I always do. So that's the idea. And I want to get something that I can sort of grow with me, sort of like a project vehicle, something I could potentially even throw a completely different motor in or something like that, down the line, and change it up for different situations. But yet something that's still traveler friendly. So it's always got to be about the travel. Not really big into the racing scene. I do like stuff that has a decent amount of power, but at the same time, I'm not really going out there to try and race anybody. I want something that's more for just sort of cruising and traveling long distances. And I've got a few vehicles that I have in mind that would be like sort of a mix between a car and a motorcycle, that sort of avenue. So yeah, we call those sleepers. Yeah, there's a few cars out there that you would never know are really fast and are just incredibly powerful. There's a few turbocharged minivans out there. There's a few, what do they call it, like four-door hatchbacks that are, twin turboed. So, I mean, you never know when something's going to have a lot of power under the hood and not really look like it is meant to be going fast. So, yeah, you got to watch out. So, I'm not going for anything like that, nothing sleeper. I'm actually looking to get, it's called a reverse trike. There's a lot of one particular one. It's a Polaris Slingshot that's on the road. I might go that avenue just because they're a little bit cheaper and you can modify them. There's some really cool stuff you can do with them. But I'd really like to get a T-Rex. I think it's a little bit better looking. And so that's my idea. Yeah, I'd rather get something a little bit newer and cheap, or used and cheaper, and modify it. I think it's kind of cooler, or at the same time, getting something a little bit rare too is something that I would like to do. Anything that's not really in the normal spectrum of things. I'm not really one that goes for the popular vehicles. I can't really see myself getting like a Ford Mustang or something like that. Just too many people have it. It's not interesting to me anymore. A small block and a VW. I recently saw the Cletus McFarlane channel do the conversion. Well, it wasn't technically his channel, but on his channel they did the conversion of the VW bus to a turbocharged rotary engine, and it was really cool. Had a really interesting sound to it, kind of like a really loud weed whacker. But it was pretty cool, and did some really good burnouts. So, it got the job done. But yeah, I'm not looking for anything like that. But the little reverse trikes actually have a lot of pickup, and again, depending on the platform you get, you can actually change up the motors in them. The T-Rex the T-Rex platform can actually hold different. A lot of vehicles can hold different engines, so I can't really say that's a feature. But I've heard of people doing like different bike swaps because they do actually have a motorcycle engine, and a lot of people swap different Hayabusa motors or something like that into them, and you can do different setups where you can make them in either like a burnout setup or like a just a pure power setup or even an economic setup. So are we cutting in and out again? It might be a busy night on the internet. I don't know. Probably every night's a busy night these days. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to. I accidentally drug down my menu. I think I paused the stream again. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're liking the stream, make sure you give it that big old thumbs up. Again, if you do have the ability to share it, make sure you share it on your favorite social media. And yeah, we'll continue going here for a little bit. Again, this is just sort of the preliminary stream. Hey there, Todd. Welcome to the live stream. I think I made it buffer here for a minute. I put my finger at the top of the stream, and I accidentally pulled down my menu, and I think it paused it. So, yeah. But yeah, this is just sort of a starter stream. Again, I would like to figure out a way to do some sort of theme. So, something to sort of be entertaining and not just, again, talking at the camera. This is just sort of a talking stream. I don't really have anything planned out for it. I was kind of thinking of something, but I really don't know at this point. So I'm going to use the rest of the night after I get off here to sort of do that planning. And again, if any of you all have any ideas of things to do, who knows? Maybe we can even do like some, I don't know, there's a possibility of doing maybe some cooking stuff. I know we've done that in the past and people have enjoyed it. I might be doing some stuff like that. I really don't know. I can't make a promise though. Trying to think of other ideas. I don't think the music's going to be a good idea, unfortunately, especially not knowing the status of the streaming setup. Hey, thanks for joining us, Gary. Appreciate you being here. You have a good night. I thought about maybe going out locally and just doing like a late night like walk. I don't think that's frowned upon. I really don't know. I'm pretty sure as long as you're out in the open and there's not a lot of other people out, that it's not frowned upon. So I thought about maybe doing that, and sort of touring around a little bit. I'm not 100% sure about that. I also thought about, again, if they didn't really frown upon it, to sort of head out again and do a stream from like a more secluded, natural type area, some trails, stuff like that. So that is a possibility. But again, yeah, it's sort of all up in the air. I'm not really sure how any of it's going to work out at this point. I'm just sort of ballparking the whole ordeal at this point. So, yeah. Am I missing stuff here? Oh. This is a conversation that I'm not in on. So yeah, I mean, again, anybody with ideas of anything, either hit me up on the live stream, or obviously anybody can hit me up via email or any other social media that I have here. Again, if you've never seen any of this before, and this is your first time experiencing any of my channels, make sure you check out the main channel, 539 Productions, for some cool travel content. Excuse me. And yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Apparently I can't talk either tonight. But yeah, I don't know if anybody is actually here for the first time or not. I'm not really sure. I don't really know how much the channel's getting around tonight, again, with all of the additional traffic here. Kind of seems like it's really not. YouTube's, again, sort of not being very friendly to the stream tonight. But maybe it's just not as interesting of a stream either. It's kind of fun when we go out and do the hotel streams or the nature streams that actually work and actually have good signal, so maybe that's kind of it. So I can completely understand. A lot of streaming is around actually doing certain things, and I don't do the gaming or anything like that. I could do gaming. I do have some systems. I do have some classic not arcade, but some classic systems that I could probably do, but I'm not really sure if I want to do that yet. And I don't really have the setup really to stream it correctly. Yeah, I've heard some states have a curfew. I know Ohio did have a curfew, but I think they might have went on lockdown altogether now. So I don't even think I can go there anymore. So yeah, it's again very difficult. I can only choose from a very, very small area to travel, and yeah, not everything works out, as you guys know, as I've showed you in the past on the channel. Not everything works out. Some places you just get to and they're complete duds, or they're not real. They look like they were something. Oh, I pulled my earbud out again. Where'd it go? But yeah, not everything actually pans out, and so it's a tricky situation when you have a limited amount of places you can even go. Good night, Christine. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, there's a very small predefined set of locations that I have. I've tried to do a little bit of research to find maybe something else, but thus far I haven't really found too much. Although the other day I did end up finding a random location that I had been planning to go, and actually panned out really well. And it's like I said, a ghost town episode, so that one's going to be pretty cool. Found some stuff that I've never found before, and so I think it'll be sort of a cool sidetrack from all of the little country graveyards that we've been doing recently. So it'll be a lot of fun and involves a cool amount of driving down an abandoned road and then walking down an abandoned road and then finding different pieces of this ghost town. So thank you, Faye. Yeah, I've actually had a few people. That's kind of the thing I laugh at, is that recently a few people have complained about how no one likes the driving and the travel aspect of the episodes, and it always kind of makes me laugh because a lot of people on the other end of the spectrum compliment me about that and really love the travel side of the episodes. So again, the fact that people often use the term "we" to describe what they don't like is sort of amusing to me, because people often think that they speak for the crowd, and often just as many people that don't like a certain thing like a certain thing. So you never really know what everybody else likes. So yeah, I appreciate that though. But yeah, that's I feel like obviously there's a certain aspect of the channel where I do try to release content that I know is going to be popular and that I know a lot of people are going to like. But at the same time, to a certain degree, it still has to be my channel. It still has to be my content and the stuff that I like to do. That's what makes it special. That's, I can't just come out there and, I mean, I guess I could be just a channel that completely relies upon the ideas and opinions of the viewers, and that would be kind of interesting. But at the same time, that was not part of my vision in all of this. Part of my vision was just to create, an interesting travel series that was a collection of places that I found uh, personally interesting, and things that I would like to do if I weren't on camera. Um, Obviously, not to a certain degree with everything. I think it's very obvious that with stuff like cemeteries and graveyards, you know, I go to it a lot more on the channel than I would in my personal life, but I do still find that stuff interesting. It's not as if I dislike it, but at the same time, obviously, I don't just go out and find random places like that to hang out. But at the same time, I think it's kind of an interesting aspect of history, and something that's really cool to explore for a historical travel type situation. And so, um, clearly there's a little bit of a difference between my personal life and the life that I live online. But at the same time, a good deal of it mixes, and a good deal of what I show you online is the stuff that I enjoy in my personal life. But sometimes some of the stuff that I do enjoy in my personal life that I love doing for the channel don't often do well on the channel. Some of the more natural episodes, some of the hiking episodes, like hiking through the rivers to get to the waterfalls and things like that, often don't do so well on the channel, even though I find them to be uh, in some ways the most interesting content that I do. A lot of times, it doesn't do quite as well, and um, so yeah, it's interesting, and it's sort of a mixture of, again, the YouTube algorithm and um, the choice of the audience, obviously. So, um, but yeah, and I don't mind doing, like I said, the cemeteries and the graveyards. It's a lot of fun, but I definitely don't want to get pigeonholed as just being, you know, a graveyard tour channel. It's definitely a travel series, and that's definitely what I want people to understand that it is. And while there will be a lot of cool little historical country 1800s and older graveyards like that, it's definitely not going to be all that all the time. And there are going to be periods where there's several videos in a row where it's not that, but at the same time, I do want people to understand that I do enjoy going out and finding places like that, and it's something that I definitely, I did it because I thought it was interesting, and I thought it would be an interesting aspect to the channel, something slightly different than not a lot of people out there do, and that highlights an interesting aspect of history that we often don't cover in history books. That sort of individual aspect of history where we can sort of explore these actual individual names of people that served different purposes in different historic uh, places in our past, like the Civil War or World Wars, or the War of 1812 or the Revolutionary War, things like that, where it literally shaped the world around us in a lot of ways. And so I find it really interesting, but I definitely don't want to get, like I said, pigeonholed into one certain type of travel content where all I can ever post is cemeteries. That's definitely something that I don't want to happen. And I think anybody out there can understand that. It's like, again, as with any of the content that I put on the channel, I don't want to just put out that content. I want to be able to put out a wide variety of content that's entertaining, maybe somewhat educational, and in some aspect or another surrounding the travel category, and to have it fairly promoted by the YouTube algorithm in a way that I get the audience that is fair to what I create. I understand that I don't create the most crazy um, extreme content on YouTube. Some of it is more risky than others. Some of it is more crazy than others, and some of them are just regular, interesting travel episodes that anybody could do, anybody could go to. But at the same time, I feel like there's a fair level of promotion that could be done, and maybe a little bit more than what's being done right now. for sure, and definitely that would include other channels out there. Again, even like in this period of enhanced traffic here on YouTube and in exaggerated streaming, to have like this audience cut literally almost into a third, or literally into a third, is kind of a little bit crazy to me. Um, there's definitely some improvements that could be done in the platform. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, knowing that my content is slightly niche and not necessarily what's on or what's going to be topping the charts. So I'm not expecting to be hitting those trending pages or whatever. But like, I feel like some content, some of the more wild stuff, some of the crazier stuff that we found definitely deserved maybe a little bit better. There was a time in YouTube's history where when there was something that merited a lot of views, it definitely would be nearly guaranteed to get the amount of views, or somewhere in the ballpark of the amount of views that I guess equaled its popularity, sort of organic growth, I guess. Where people were sharing it as much as they were liking it, as opposed to an algorithm sort of trying to predict what they might like and then promoting it to that degree that it saw, or that it predicted rather. So yeah, it's a different place here. So just gotta grow with the times and figure out a new way around. But definitely not one of the best moments in YouTube history. But I feel like a lot of things are starting to get better now. So I'm kind of hopeful that here over the next year or so that things are going to really improve. Thank you, Faye. Yeah, and I really try my best to do that. That's, again, some people get confused. They're like, you film your feet, you film pointing straight up, you film a lot of being in the car, and it's like, it's a part of the experience. And, it's that whole full 360 view of what's around you. There's a lot more to the world than what's straight ahead of you. So I really try to emphasize that in my videos. I try to make sure and have a lot of different angles, so you get not only my view, but even alternate views. Third views from further away, where you can see me experiencing the environment, or see me driving through the environment, or things like that. And again, I mean, the ground is part of it. What does the ground look like that you're walking on to get to this location? Is it incredibly muddy and then therefore strenuous and wild, or is it like a well-beaten path that's very easy to navigate? Is it paved? Is it gravel? It really does make a difference. And yeah. And I think some people, again, a lot of people out there make a judgment call after they've watched a single video. They think they know what your channel is, what kind of content you put out. And the fact that I do put out different types of content, unfortunately, puts me in a place where I can get judged a little bit more. I feel like, just because people might expect me, after one video, they might see, like, again, a cemetery video, and they say, this is something I really like, and so they subscribe, and then the next video I put out is sort of like this hiking in the middle of the wilderness, and it's like, oh, well, I don't really care for this. Clearly you've broken the rules and posted something that I don't care for, and so therefore you've betrayed my trust in you as a creator. And they get angry at you when they express that anger, and it's unfortunate, because when I'm trying to put out a travel series where I'm going to multiple different types of locations, and you can't please everybody, it sort of puts you in or puts you or makes you into a really easy target. So yeah, I get that a lot, where it's like, you're doing too much of this, you're doing too much of this. Why don't you just go back and do what everybody likes, or why don't you do this type of video instead, or I miss it when you do this, and it's like, um, everything that you see on the channel is something that, in one way or another, I enjoy doing. So, and at some point or the other, I'm always going to get back to doing certain types of things, certain types of locations, certain areas of the country, whether it's, the desert, or whether it's the ocean areas, or whether it's, the Midwest, or whatever it might be. Obviously I'm going to get back to there at some certain point, but, there's just certain people that are not satisfied, and they're not patient, and they want to see what they want to see, and they want to see it now. But yeah, I still try to stay hopeful about it all, because, again, it's what I like to do. I enjoy doing YouTube more than anything that I've really ever done, and it incorporates a lot of the skills that I've done in other areas in my life, whether it's the IT work I've done, whether it's the photography work that I've done, whether it's the management work that I've done, anything. It sort of taps into all those different areas. I sort of got to utilize everything. I sort of have to be my own content creator, my own editor, my own producer, my own marketer. I have to do everything from scratch, and it's a really interesting platform. And to be able to actually go out there and get views, except for in weird times like this, where whatever's happening is happening. It's kind of cool to see that happen. So I enjoy doing it. So I try not to take anything too seriously, and I try to stay hopeful for the most part, even when we go from like a relatively growing audience to all of a sudden a increasingly shrinking audience. So to get a laugh out of me, I really don't know how to help you there. Like I said, I'm better in person. If I had somebody with me to riff off of, then it might be different. But I'm very good at keeping a straight face on a stream. But it just depends on what we're talking about too. It depends on how the stream progresses here. We've been mainly talking about serious stuff lately, so it's kind of hard to have any sort of other emotion than that. So, I mean, yeah, if all of you want to steer it into a different direction, I mean, that is perfectly fine with me. Yeah. And I should make it clear too that it's not that I don't mind the criticism, because I get insult. I mean, it's probably about 90, 95. I think even when I looked the last time, because YouTube analytics does show you somewhat the percentile of positive feedback, and I think we're like at 92, 93% positive feedback. But there'll be like one or two comments every few weeks, or one or two comments every one. I'm sure there's more that I miss, but every once in a while I'll get a hate comment, or you're absolutely terrible, or what you do is completely boring, and or you've completely changed and I don't want to watch you anymore, or whatever it may be. But it really doesn't actually bother me. Some of the constructive criticism, it's like, I'll take it to heart. I completely understand. But if it's like just straight up insult, I really honestly don't care that much. I hope that isn't causing noise, my mic bouncing there. Somebody let me know if that's actually causing any annoying noises. But anyway, it really doesn't bug me that much. I've grown sort of a thick skin over the years. I've gone through my fair share of bullying and insults and things like that, and it really doesn't bug me anymore. Like, at this point in the game, I know that, these people that throw out these insults, they don't really know me. They probably haven't watched even, a lot of times the entire video that they're watching. They're just throwing out insults to either get attention, or because they only have a very small amount of information on your life. And at the very most, they have a bunch of videos that comprise very small segments of your life and don't really say, the complete picture of who you are as a person. So it's hard to take it seriously, but I figure there's a good amount of people out there, the real fans, the real friends of the channel that really sort of get an understanding. I know that you guys don't experience my entire life, but you get an understanding of what I'm going for, and understand that there is a me offline as well as a me online, and that you can't just criticize me for what you think you see. It's like someone the other day, and again, it wasn't their fault, I guess, in a way, because they didn't really get the whole picture, but they insulted me for not replacing a flag that was on the ground for a veteran. And the funny part was that I just did it off of camera. I didn't actually film it, because I don't feel like I should film that every time, just to sort of lift myself up as, oh, look at what I did, look how good of a person I am. I picked up a flag and put it back in the ground. I do like to show that it's a good thing to do, and that I do it, but at the same time I don't feel the need to build myself up so much that I have to do it on film every single time. And they took the time to let me know what terrible of a person I was, just because I didn't put the flag up. And it's like, well, I did put it up. I just didn't feel the need to do it on camera. I didn't feel the need to have credit for it every time, because it's a situation where it's not necessarily about me. It's about something else. It's about an idea. And the fact that they judged me for that is it shows that people are very quick to judge about things that they don't really have the full information on. Clearly they weren't there, or they would have known that I really did do it. I really did take the time out of my day to pick the flag up, put it back in the ground, and do the right thing, but yet didn't put it on film. So the fact that I didn't brag about it literally got me insulted. So it's kind of an interesting environment. So at the same time, it's like you can't take offense to it, because it's like, the very thing that person was claiming that I didn't do, I actually did do. So it's like I can't get too offended at it, because they really didn't know what I was doing anyway. So, and then there's the people that don't realize, it's like with this situation that we're dealing with right now, it makes it 10 times harder just to go out there and get good content. So when people are saying, hey, this is kind of I'm getting a little bit bored, and it's like, well, I mean, I'm not exactly in a situation where I can head out to the middle of the desert and film some crazy location that we haven't ever done before. So to a certain degree, I'm forced to work with what I have here. And although I don't want to bring any shade to any one location, because obviously some locations are more sensitive than others, and obviously these are memories of people's lives, and sometimes, and so they're all kind of interesting locations in a lot of ways. But it's in terms of diversity on the channel, obviously during times like this, it's going to be a lot harder to have those that diversity on the channel, and to get different types of locations, because I can only travel a certain amount of areas. So it's it's an interesting restriction. And even now, people don't often a small percentage, I should say, of people don't really understand how hard it is, and sort of take it out on the channel as sort of a flaw of the channel, or I don't know, just that the channel is somehow getting worse, even though it's like, we're just in a weird time here. It's like normally I probably would have been out of state by now. It's like I've been talking with different people now for months about getting together, doing things, locations, things like that. It's like, I've had plans, and it's just like, it's just not possible right now. There's just nothing I really can do. So, but yeah, a certain amount of people are just not going to understand, and I've come to expect that, but I really don't let it get to me anymore. It's just, it's more of it's something interesting to talk about sometimes, because of the strange ideas that can float around about different situations or different choices that I've made, and it's an interesting thing to reflect on, and maybe a learning moment for some people out there, I guess, and maybe just a moment of reflection for some of us out there. So I don't know, but yeah, I just sort of find it interesting to talk about it every once in a while. But at the same time, like I said, it would be very hard for a lot of people to hurt my feelings at this point. Like, I more get irritated by the numbers if I feel like I made something really interesting and put a lot of work into something, and then I feel like the algorithm maybe didn't promote it to the point where I thought was fair. I probably get more irritated at that than somebody like sending me some random insult anymore. I don't really find it to be disheartening at all. You know, it's irritating for a brief moment because I think that it's a little bit ignorant that some people believe such crazy things about you after only seeing such a brief moment of your life. But at the same time, it's like it's so silly in a certain sense that it's hard to take it seriously, really. So I really don't find it hard anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'll continue to bring it up here on the channel and the live streams just as something to talk about, or if it seems like it's poignant at that time to bring it up and discuss it, obviously, like this. So, but yeah, there has been some level of impatience recently with the content. Not a lot. A lot of people seem to have been enjoying the fact that I've been getting back out there in the country. I know I did some more urban type of locations for a while, and that was a lot of fun for me, and I thought it was kind of cool, but at the same time, not as popular. Some of them a lot less than others. I know the Congressional Memorial was not very popular. The art park and the ruins were fairly popular, but by far the cemeteries definitely outweighed everything, which is kind of interesting because when the channel first started, actually, out of everything, the little country graveyards and cemeteries did by far the worst, and now they're the most highly performing videos on the channel. So it's kind of one of those weird situations where the channel just flipped at a certain point. And I think it really was after I went to California, because a couple of the California videos really went pretty big, got a lot of views, got a lot of interest, got a lot of comments. And so once that happened, I sort of got cemented in the algorithm as being sort of this graveyard explorer. And again, I don't really mind it, but I just have to find constructive ways to do other stuff in other places, like the live streams here. I think part of the problem too with I know I did that one live stream the other day, and it failed miserably because the signal was really, really bad, and we were in the middle of the woods, and it kept cutting out, and I ended up deleting it a couple hours later. But it seemed like it had like an effect on all the live streams since then, and I can't figure it out because I deleted it so quickly. It's like we went from like having a pretty decent amount of viewers, and then after that one failed stream, it seemed like it just the whole algorithm stopped promoting it. So I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. I'm happy to come on and hang out for a little bit either way, and we'll keep doing this, like I said, hopefully on a daily basis for a little bit here, and then like I said, if it doesn't seem like everybody's enjoying it, then I'll cut back to like every other day, something like that. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, just remember, if you enjoy it, make sure to share and give it a thumbs up, and maybe we'll grow our audience here as the days go on, and yeah. Hold on, I'm going to catch up on comments here real quick. Yeah, I don't mind constructive criticism at all. Like and I never send any hate back towards it. Well, I never respond towards hateful comments at all. Anyway, I feel like responding to them is just giving them attention anyway. So I don't ever actually respond to them. Period. Um, but at the same time, I do respect constructive criticism, and I will respond to that sometimes. Like some people are just like, hey, could you, I really like it, to see this certain thing, and I'd like it if you maybe pause for a few more moments during, certain scenarios so that I can check out certain aspects of the video. And to that, I always respond, yeah, certainly try to do that for you. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. And if people just say they don't like something, that's fine. Thank you, Faye. Yeah, I enjoy doing it. I really hope to do a lot of them here. But yeah, I don't really mind, even if somebody just says, "Hey, I don't like this," or some people, like I said, I had a few people recently say that the content was just becoming boring, and it's like, I don't agree with that, but at the same time, I also, it's fine. If they have that opinion, that's fine, as long as they're not saying it in a hateful manner. Is it necessary to say that? Probably not, but I mean, at the same time, I don't really care. It's fine. You know, I'm still gonna do what I do. I'm still gonna put it out there, and like I said, for every person that says that, there's at least 10 to 20 other people that are saying, "Hey, I really liked this. Thanks for putting it out." So, yeah, I mean, people are just people, and I pay no attention to the trolls, and honestly, we don't attract many trolls. We've had a few trolls in the live streams, but not very often. More so on the 539 channel. Every once in a while, I go live on the 539 channel. A lot less these days. I think it's been well over a year since I've been live on the 539 channel. But I every once in a while go live over there, and we honestly have more trolls over there. But at the same time, we also have more viewers over there too, which is kind of funny because I kind of screw myself over a little bit because I could just go live on the 539 channel and have like well over 100 viewers. So I mean, not that I'm having any issue with the viewers that we have now. I really enjoy hanging out in the small crowd too, and just having that more intimate setting too. But I'm just saying, like, it's kind of an interesting situation on YouTube where I have to worry about doing live streams on different channels for different reasons. Hey there, Molly. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to sort of establish a sort of a unique style and a unique aesthetic value to the videos in the same way that I do in my personal life. I'm trying to make sort of a unique, definitely not generic. I definitely want it to sort of pop out as a production that was created by me, whether it's the way I use color, or the way I utilize black and white shots, or the type of shots that I get, the angles that I get, things like that. I'm trying to establish that unique style to my content. I do see it as sort of an artistic endeavor, not just a documentary endeavor. It's more than just about the travel to me. I also want to bring it to people in an artistic way. And I like the format, I guess I should say. I came from a place where I enjoyed the hobby of photography before I got into videography and all that. And I came from a place where I did film, and I did my own homemade pinhole cameras, and I've developed my own film, and I've done all that. And I wanted to give that experience a chance to influence what I do over here. And that's why I've used the different filters and different things like that, and try to mess around with the color, and like I said, do the black and white shots and things like that. It's just sort of the way that my past experience in still photography have informed my my YouTube experience. So that's the idea there, and I'd like to do that more and more. I'm actually going to be purchasing some film here. I was going to purchase it earlier, but with all this lockdown stuff going on, I really haven't put much effort into it, just because it's like, if I'm not going to be able to get out and find interesting things to take photos of, and then I'm not going to buy expensive film to do it with and then just sit on it, because some of the film requires refrigeration after a while. So, like, I have my Polaroid camera that I really want to get out and start using again. And then I have my Holga camera, which uses medium format film that I'd really like to get out and use again. And I also have a few 35 millimeter cameras that I'd like to use with some interesting film, different different styles of film, different treatments, things like that. There's lots of different things that I could try, and I've really been wanting to mess around with scanning 35 millimeter so that I can import it easily into like Photoshop and then edit it from there. So yeah, that's the idea, but it's just not the right timing. Thank you, Linda, and everyone. Yeah, I know that not every video can be the top video, and I do try to make everything as interesting as possible. I've tried to establish some sort of level of entertainment value with the places that I go, or historical value, or whatever it might be, where it's not just heading out in a car and going somewhere. It's heading out in a car and going somewhere of some sort of significance, and exploring that area and seeing what's there, and talking about anything from how it could be better, how it could be different, how it would have been back, if it's a historic location, how it would have been back in the day, and just seeing that travel that goes into getting to these little remote backroads places, and also even in the urban locations, just that interesting aspect of how the effort or level of effort that it takes to get to these places, wherever they may be, and the different avenues that we have to take to get there. Whether it's going to a subterranean parking garage, or going way out in the country where it's only dirt roads, and you have to worry about the road even being wet. Something like that. Thank you, Molly. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. We're really, even with this 2-week lockdown, I have the final episode may be slightly late. Like, I think the quarantine will end on Wednesday, and I may not have another video. The Tuesday video may have to be pushed off to Thursday. But other than that, everything else will be on time after the slight pushback of the last few episodes. I know the weekend episode wasn't released until Monday, and then we just released the other episode today. So if you haven't seen the latest episode that just came out today, make sure that you check that out. If you want to head out of here and over to the 539 channel and check that out, and then come back, make sure you do so. It was a kind of an interesting episode, way out in the middle of the country, and I think some interesting travel as well. And then another one coming on Saturday. So Saturday will be officially us getting back on track, and then there'll be another one on Tuesday. So we'll be completely back on track by this weekend, and then we might get pushed back by a couple days at the very end of the lockdown period. So unfortunate, but I did the best that I could in terms of getting out there, and I mean, there was just, like I said, I'm dealing here with not just the lockdown, but the just travel advisory in general, and trying to stay safe. So it's like, even before the lockdown, it's not like I'm going to go out and get a hotel room, because that's just not, I don't feel like that's responsible right now to just go out there. I don't really have to. I've got things that I can do. It's a little bit harder to do it this way, but at the same time, it's like, if I can, I might as well do it, because taking any unnecessary risk is just out of the question at this point. There's no reason to do it. So that's why I'm just gonna continue to play it like I'm gonna stay in for my 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do as much as possible, but I'm still gonna try and stay my distance. I'm still not gonna try and stay in the hotels until the whole thing's sort of cleared up and they get that all clear signal, when they say it's fine to travel again, then I'll certainly do so. And like I said, I'll probably just save up until that point, and then just I guess we'll do another epic 5,000-mile trip or something like that. Maybe we'll head out on the road and go to Alaska or something. I don't know. We'll do something, because I'm sure by the time that this is all over, everybody's going to want to be traveling or doing something outside of the house. So yeah, we were told initially 2 weeks. I really don't know how long it'll last. I think it really is up in the air at this point. We may get to the end of the 2 weeks and they say, it's another 2 weeks. It just depends on what's healthy and what's safe. Honestly, it's whatever it takes. You might as well do it, because if it's the safe way to do it, you just might as well do it. What's the reason to not do it? You can wait for a few months to see people, in order to stay healthy. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Well, that's just why everybody needs to do their part and do as much as they can. Just stay where you are. Don't go out for any reason that you don't have to whatsoever. Don't have any contact whatsoever that you don't have to. That way, the more that happens, the better it gets, literally. It's just math at this point. The less interaction, the less it spreads. That's the simple nature of it. So it's just like a road. If you have a bunch of traffic, you need some medium for that traffic to travel. Otherwise, the traffic is just caught. And if you cut off the means of travel for the traffic, then you solve that situation. So that's what we're doing this for. So, you just got to think yourself as you're the means of travel. You're that mode of transportation. If you don't allow the transportation, then you're helping to solve the issue. So, but yeah, that's how it continues. Is that it's nearly impossible to cut off all travel. There's obviously some necessity that we've either established as a society or just need as people. Whether it's healthcare or whether it's going out to get food or whatever. We don't live in a society that just hunts off the land anymore. So some of us live in areas where we can't just go out and rely on the land, so it's not like we have a possibility of cutting off all contact altogether. And if people weren't prepared going into it, then they have to obviously at some certain point get prepared. So, that's just how it is. But you can certainly, after that point, do your best to not get out at all. Again, it's just much more worth it to do it as long as necessary now and get it over with, rather than come to the point where it's a lot longer later. Because if we wait, it's just going to be longer and longer that it takes. So if you want a quarantine of, this, however much this amount is, do it now. Because however much it is now, if we have to do it later, it's going to be a lot more. God forbid we get to the point where it's like, 2 years of lockdown or over a year plus of lockdown, because at a certain point, if people don't listen to the rules, we're going to end up making it worse for ourselves. So you gotta think about it in that way. You gotta make it the best possible scenario for everybody. But anyway, I don't want to make it all about that. Like I said, I don't want to, just because it's a stream during the middle of this, and because it's sort of as a result of this in some ways, I don't want to make all the streams about that. So I don't mean to ramble on and on about it. But again, there will continue to be content across the channels. And also, I've been wanting to use this channel more and more anyway. I feel like that we need to start utilizing the social media to its fullest extent and trying to, even myself, trying to improve and do a little bit better of a job every single day, to the point where I can do things the most efficiently. I know I do a lot of hard work, whether it's editing, filming, traveling, whatever it may be. But at the same time, I know there's areas where I could still improve and get better and get more efficient and do more and bring more content to you guys like these streams and do more on the streams and so I'm constantly thinking about that and planning stuff like that and planning new content. So I'm just trying to take this time definitely to improve that and just continue to innovate. And again, maybe one of the first ways that we're going to do that is again upgrading some of the equipment here and getting some stuff in that's going to make the streams a little bit more interesting. Again, maybe some better cameras for the Mac so that we can get back to the in my mind the better live streaming platform, which is OBS, being able to put stuff up on the screen, put links up on the screen, put videos up on the screen, put still photos up on the screen, do stuff like that. I can, obviously share my browsing with you guys or share my desktop with you guys to show you guys different things. And it just makes it that much better. And so I got to get back to doing that. And I lost my train of thought there for a minute. But I'm trying to improve all of that and then improve the 539 experience as well. Like I said, I'm always trying to up that level where the even though we sort of revisit certain types of locations, sometimes it's like we're still expanding our reach and our viewing potentials, different types of locations and stuff like that, or even different flavors of the same type of location. That we can find things in different areas and different situations with different levels of difficulty to get to. I think a lot of times the coolest places aren't necessarily the places that are the coolest looking, but maybe some of them are the places that are the hardest to get to, that take the most amount of effort to arrive at the location. And so I really put a lot of effort into trying to document locations that take some effort to get to. And it's obviously going to be a little bit different based on different areas. What is hard in the Midwest may not necessarily be something that we consider to be hard, say in the middle of the desert or something like that. And, obviously that's one of the reasons that I travel around to different areas of the countries anyway. So, not every level, like I said before, episode's going to be to the same degree of difficulty, danger, excitement, or whatever, but I do try to put a certain level, a minimum level of effort and editing and travel into each and every video, so that I'm not just going out there and going, okay, well here's something that I could film and put online. I try to avoid that sort of scenario where I'm just like slapping together something and putting it online. I feel like I learned that lesson early on where, not only is it not good because it doesn't put out a clear message to people of what the channel's about, but also people see pretty easily through stuff like that, and a lot of times the videos like that don't get a lot of views. So I think it's a good reason to sort of always be thinking about quality, and always trying to keep your quality level high. And I know that camera work isn't the most important thing on YouTube, but for sure to me, I think it's one of the primary focuses of the channel, because I do see myself more as a filmmaker, and I would say definitely as a YouTuber, but filmmaker I would say is an equal role that I would call it. I'm not just a YouTuber. Hey there, Cheryl. Cheryl, welcome to the live stream. Going pretty good so far here. Hope you are doing well too. Thank you, Faye. Appreciate you guys being here, hanging out. Kind of a medium night. not exactly a busy stream, but not exactly a slow stream. Um, Definitely is obvious that there's a lot of people out there streaming right now. Again, we usually get a little bit more traffic through here, so um, dealing with that a little bit, but at the same time, definitely thankful to be able to come on and hang out for a little bit. Going on the 2 hour mark here, so many thanks to everybody. I might do some earlier streams too. I think that might help the situation as well. You know, earlier in the day is a lot easier for people to a lot of times join in, but I'm a lot more used to doing late night stuff. So, um, again, I'm still keeping it up in the air where I might do some longer streams, like maybe trying to do like a 24-hour stream. Definitely for sure if I get, that was kind of redundant, but for sure if I get my camera upgraded here, which I might order tonight, we'll see here. If I can get that worked out, I might try and do a 24-hour stream because I need a way where I can go on break. And when I do it with my Mac, as you guys have seen in the past, I can go to different scenes, and so I can go to a Be Right Back scene and have like imagery up on the screen and music going and things where it's not completely boring while I just take off. Where here, I just have to walk away and leave it literally just staring at the wall. So it's a little bit harder for me to do that from the phone, but I think I might go on later tonight and see if I can get something ordered. Well, I'm really glad that people can be entertained by the videos. I appreciate you saying that, Cheryl. Well, I mean, not that I want you to go crazy, but I mean, the thought that the videos can help out in any way is really cool. Um, it's weird to think about yourself in that way. Me personally, not you, but to think about the fact that people do get that entertainment value or some sort of whatever value it may be out of the videos, you know, from all around the world. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm really happy that I was actually able to get out on the road and get stuff done before all this happened, and that I am lucky enough to have a channel that doesn't require the same level of contact that some of these channels out there do. I know obviously had I been doing other types of content, I wouldn't have had the luxury of being able to responsibly go out there and continue to make content. Whereas doing these travel series where I can be alone and out on the road still is kind of nice in a way. Yeah, I agree, Drew. Yeah, I mean, you just got to do your best. Oh yeah, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm like again complaining or anything about that, anything like that. It's not about the size of the crowd. It's just sometimes as a numbers guy, I compare stuff in my head to like what we've done in the past, and knowing whether or not something's a algorithm issue as compared to just a straight up stream issue. Like again, I know that there's some streams out there that are doing some really interesting stuff, whether it's gaming or music or stuff like that. And I know that tonight, at the very least, this stream isn't doing anything more than just hanging out and chatting. So I'm not expecting a miracle in it or anything like that. But definitely, as a numbers person, I definitely compare in my head, you know, between like Indianapolis a few weeks ago doing like 35 plus people. And then now just doing, you know, anywhere between like 10 to 15. It's kind of it's interesting at the very least. But yeah, I don't want to mean it to be like I'm complaining, but um, there are certain complaints obviously that I do have about the algorithm though, for sure. But thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, it's an interesting pastime. I mean, obviously you got to be careful doing it, and be careful where you are. But at the same time, yeah, it's an interesting way to learn about history and about pieces of history that are still sticking around there, still hidden in different places, and you just got to know where to look. And so, yeah, I find it really kind of Very fulfilling pastime to get out there and travel to these areas that often go overlooked. I don't consider myself to be that touristy of a person. I don't want to just go and hang out on a beach somewhere. I want to hop in my car and go have some level of adventure, or be out in nature, or find something that is hidden, or put some effort into something. And so that's usually what my travel centers around, is that idea, where it takes some level of effort to get to where I am, some level of travel. And so yeah, even when I'm traveling for personal reasons, it's like I usually end up doing things that otherwise would be something that I would film anyway. Even before I started YouTube, I usually did stuff that was, just different, on a whim. We would, in the car club, we would leave the country and just randomly travel to Canada on a whim. It could be midnight, and we'd hit the road and go to the border and cross the border and go do something for a few hours and then come back. Or, I remember going on a road trip randomly with my friend just to head down to see his buddy in the military and we ended up touring one of the largest boats in the United States Naval Fleet, and all just on like pretty much a whim, and it's like it's just always been part of my life to do it. And even from a young age, we've always gone to places that were more on the adventurous side, rather than places that were just like hang out and relax. I was always one of those people that got easily bored. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know, Cheryl. You post to YouTube and you. Yeah, I do intend on giving a little bit more notice, and that's part of what tonight is about too, is to let you guys know that I am going to be doing stuff on, trying to do it on a daily basis, or at least a semi-daily basis. So I will try to do one tomorrow. If I don't do one tomorrow, will for sure do one the next day. I thought about not doing one tonight, but I just didn't want to leave it hanging that long. Originally, or usually, I try not to make videos on or streams on this channel coincide with new episodes on the other channel, to sort of not let one distract against the other. And so tonight was a little bit different. I just decided to hop on for the heck of it. I just wanted to give it a try. But again, yeah, if anybody out there hasn't seen the newest episode over in 539, make sure you check that out too. There's a new one as of today. So if you haven't seen the new episode today, there's something that you haven't seen yet. So make sure you check it out. And again, if you're new, make sure you check out youtube.com/539productions, and you will see hundreds and hundreds of travel episodes from around the United States, whether it's historic stuff, abandoned stuff, hidden little country graveyards, crazy natural phenomenon, or natural, I guess not phenomenon, but natural formations, or unique trails, or waterfalls, things like that. Yeah, all kinds of cool travel content. So yeah, that might be all we're gonna do for right now, though, I think. Again, we're going to keep doing this and trying to come up with different ideas for the streams to make them actually kind of entertaining and stand out a little bit from the crowd. But I think for this first stream, it doesn't seem like, unless anybody had any particular questions that they wanted to ask, or any subjects that they wanted to discuss before we go here, I don't really see anything that I haven't covered yet. Other than that, again, like I was saying previously, if you have any ideas, anything you'd like to see, any information that you'd like to know. I know some people, again, were wanting me to explain the whole 539 name thing. I know no one's asked so far yet on the recent streams, so I'll kind of save it until somebody asks. But if there's a subject that you're wondering about out there, make sure you let me know. Thanks for joining us, Molly. Oop. Appreciate it. Yeah, you have a great night. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of a fun way to address the different situation. And like I said, I will be trying to do stuff at different times too. So I'll try to do some afternoon streams if we're very lucky. I'll try to do some morning streams. And then obviously I'll be doing later streams like this. Maybe we'll try and do some, like I said before, maybe a 24-hour stream if possible. We'll see, we'll see what becomes of that idea. But I might try and do that, and maybe try and do an overnight stream. But yeah, we'll just see how it ends up working out, and what my equipment situation is at the end of the day. Well, within the next few days, I guess. But assuming we can move the streams back to the main computer, we'll try for a longer format here. But for right now, I think the 2-hour length is pretty good. Unless, again, like I said, if somebody out there has any questions that they want to get in before we take off here, then be sure to do that, and I'll ramble on about that for a little bit longer here. But again, if you don't catch me on this stream here, just hit me up on my other social media or via email if you have any questions, and I'll try and address those on the stream, or excuse me, on the next stream, I mean. But yeah, again, we'll try for daily at the very least, and see how it goes from there. That's the idea. Well, it's all good. It's honestly whatever you guys want it to be. That's why I always sort of leave the time up to you guys. I sort of wait until I feel like the chat winds down a little bit, or the questions sort of wind down a little bit, to the point where I don't really feel like I have any updates or any subjects that I needed to discuss or anything like that. Or if I feel like I'm discussing a certain subject that doesn't seem to be getting much reply or whatever, obviously I'll head on to the next subject or whatever. But yeah, I sort of try to leave the streams as an open format where you guys kind of dictate both some of the subject depending on the type of stream we do, whether it's a podcast or a just hangout stream, as well as the amount of time that we do it. When it starts feeling like it's getting late and people are heading off to bed and getting ready for the next day, then I sort of call it a night there. Or if it seems like people are starting to, sometimes it gets to like 1 and 2 in the morning, and all of a sudden we get a giant surge, and we keep going for a few hours. But just really depends on the night, But again, always helps out. If you guys, are enjoying it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And then, the more that you comment and the more that you share, the better it'll do. And the more that we do this, the more that I come on here and do these streams on a regular basis, the better it'll get. How do I feel about aliens? I would say it's almost impossible that they don't exist. I think there's too many stars in the sky. I mean, we live in a galaxy with billions of stars, and we know that there are billions of galaxies out there with billions of stars in each one of them, and each one of those stars probably having a system of planets orbiting it. It would be astronomically small chance that there's not at least one other system out there that has some sort of life on it. I would say mathematically it'd be nearly impossible for us to be completely alone, even if it happens to be that we're not, or that we may be the only highly advanced species, which I think is also unlikely. But even if we were to be the only highly advanced species in the universe, I think it would still be highly unlikely that we didn't at least find some sort of plant life or very primitive animal life somewhere out there in the universe. I think there's even, hey there, Bronx boy, no worries, good to have you. But yeah, I think there's even a lot of evidence that we're not even alone in our own solar system. I mean, there's several moons out there that are known to have a high probability of having life underneath the surface, and gigantic subterranean oceans that are under layers of ice. There's a few out there that have oceans that could be miles and miles deep, and so there may be. I mean, who knows how advanced, but there may be life forms that are existing underneath that ice in that liquid ocean. Because I mean, as we know very well from here on Earth, it's easy for life to exist where liquid water exists, and so we at least know that's possible. But as for the 539 question tonight, I'll give the short answer of it. It's just basically a math problem. It's the number. It's based off of Leet Speak, which is like a chat room hacker type code. Not really a language, but sort of like a code that utilizes numbers to represent certain letters, and to represent the word elite, they use 1337, which when you convert that to something called base 16 becomes 539. So 539 represents the word elite, so it just means elite productions. Not necessarily bragging about my own abilities, but just more about being the best that I can be, I guess, more than anything, to release the best content that I can release. It's not really supposed to be a challenge to anybody out there or anything like that, but I just thought it sounded kind of interesting, and it was kind of a cool little backstory to my channel. So that's where that came about from. But yeah, I at some other point can get deeper into all the mathematics of it and all the what base 10 is and what base 16 is and what base 2 is, and binary and all that, but that's the short answer. I was okay at math. Evolution can't be an isolated event. Yeah, it would seem unlikely. Yeah, I would say most roles. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that people do everything, and so people don't just go out there and randomly poke fun at people for no reason. Either they're going through something in their own life, or they're trying to get some sort of reaction out of you for whatever reason. Maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they're having a hard time in life or whatever. So I sort of try to treat it like that, where it's a mix between somebody who's trying to victimize and trying to get attention, and also a person who may themselves be suffering in one way or the other. So it's like, that's why I just don't answer. It's like, you don't want to be nasty to a person that only said something because they were going through some traumatic moment in their own life and they made a mistake and decided to say something really, really mean, and they might regret it later and not even be a bad person. And so to lash back out at somebody like that for no reason is useless too. So I just try to ignore it, because it's like, or they could be younger. It's like, I don't need to argue with somebody that's really young, that doesn't understand what they're doing, doesn't understand what they're talking about, and may grow up to really regret some of the things that they said. So it's like, what's the use anyway? Again, sort of reinforces my belief that um, just ignoring people is sort of the best way to do it, because if you're this brick wall where anybody that says anything negative never gets a response back, then that's going to be, in a way, sort of like a learning algorithm where at a certain point people are really just going to give up. No one's going to try it again if they're just never getting a response. No one wants to insult the person that is never responding. It just completely ignores them 100% of the time. Eventually they're just going to give up and go to somebody that does give them the time of day. And so that's why I just tend to let it go. So, it's why I'm not more harsh than I could be, because I see the underlying issues with people and know that they could be going through stuff themselves, and so it's like it seems almost irresponsible in a way. It's like, I obviously started YouTube to be a content creator, to be a producer, to film these cool adventures, these travel adventures that I do, and I didn't join it to argue with people about whether my content was good, or argue with them about politics or beliefs or anything like that. I just did it to make a travel series, and the comments are there for people to leave their opinion, and I don't feel like it's like I don't have any real obligation with anybody in general, so I just sort of interact with the people that build the channel up or criticize it in a constructive way, as opposed to people that are just trying to cause drama. I don't see any reason to interact with the drama. It's not really real, because again, at the end of the day, they really don't know you anyway. So I mean, it's like, they could insult the greatest person in the world just because they made a video that they thought was subpar. So I mean, they don't really know. Oh no. Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. I've done that to myself on occasion. Occasionally I've done it to the stream. So you never know. But yeah, that's my take on the whole drama and troll situation. Again, it's just one of those issues that I feel like I just make it solve itself. No one wants to insult and never get a response. It's just sort of boring. So I just make it boring for them, and then they go away. And then we get mostly people just leaving nice comments or suggestions, which is the good way to do it. I mean, yeah, at least in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I guess there is some, they do say that no news is bad news. If they're talking about you, then obviously you're relevant, and so I guess there is some argument against it, that drama does lead to some level of interaction. So it is what it is. But I feel like there's a responsible level though too, where it's like, you can't be just getting into arguments with people who are in questionable states of mind, or going through learning processes in their own life. Oh, you'd be surprised what people have. People have comments all the time. A lot of times it's about. I mean, it's just like anything else. People critique your style. People critique my hairstyle a lot. Some people are confused about the content type. They don't understand the idea of filming in like a graveyard as a historical experience, as opposed to just somebody who's maybe obsessed with graveyards or whatever. I mean, I don't care either way, but I mean, like, a lot of people just don't get it. And then there's again the people that just have certain expectations about your channel. So like there's the people that expect it to be like I said, certain people expect it to be cemetery tours, like, you know, so I'll get insults like, why didn't I walk down each and every row, film each and every memorial, say each and every name out loud so that everybody could hear it, say the names and the dates out loud so that everybody can hear it, you know, and they want me to create these sort of hours long videos at these places, and they don't really understand that at the end of the day it is a travel series to different types of locations, and so they'll be critical about that, which isn't as bad, but I'd say for the most part, I'd say 90% of the insults that I get are usually around like style choices, you know. People criticize the type of clothes I wear, or the way my hair is, you know. Everybody thinks that you dye your hair blue and you must be out of your mind or something. Hey there, Joanne. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I generally, unless I have something nice to say about somebody's appearance, I don't really mention it. I don't get why people make such a big deal about it. A lot of people use it as a way to justify other stuff, like when somebody follows me through a place and tries to intimidate me. A lot of people tell me, you know, like, well, of course they're doing that. You know, the guy with tattoos and blue hair just walked in. Why wouldn't they be making sure you're not doing anything bad? And to me, it's like, well, it's kind of a bad and inefficient method in, you know, 2020, where, you know, a good percentage of the population has some sort of their hair altered and has tattoos or piercings or whatever. It's fairly normal, you know, anymore. You know, obviously there's alternative cultures, you know, even myself, you know, living sort of an alternative culture lifestyle, but at the same time there's a lot of people who would otherwise be considered what, you know, this weird term of normal, but, you know, may fall into that category, and they still have tattoos and piercings. So it's kind of a weird judgment, but yeah, a lot of people expect me to be more understanding of people randomly driving around, revving their engines, or creepily doing laps around cemeteries to try and scare me. They kind of basically say, well, you just got to sit down and accept it because you just look like a freak anyway, you know. So it's usually stuff like that. But again, like I said, I actually don't really like a whole lot of undesired attention, so I dye my hair because I like it, not because other people like it. But I like that, you know, a lot of people do enjoy seeing, you know, the different style choices that I make, the different colors of hair. Yeah, I'm the same way, Cheryl. I've had, you know, I've been coloring my hair in one way or another since I was in my early teens, so, you know, I am used to it. But uh, it is what they talk about most, I would say. Not necessarily the color of my hair, but just, you know, my style choices in general. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I love the blue and the brighter colors. I also like the darker colors like I'm doing now. This actually is technically blue still, though. It is a midnight blue and not black. But I do need to color it again soon. But I'm probably going to give it a little bit of time because I've been washing my hair a little bit more often here with everything going on, and I don't want it to dry out too much when I color it next, so we'll see what happens. But yeah. Yeah, I do have some level of social anxiety too. Like I said, you know, if it really was about the desired level of attention, I probably wouldn't color my hair. I purely do it out of personal enjoyment because I like it when I see it in the mirror. I like having those colors of hair. I don't necessarily do it for the attention because in certain situations it does make me feel uncomfortable to be the one that just arbitrarily stands out of the group. So, I mean, I just like it. And But other than that, I do enjoy sharing it with certain people, you know, when I know that they're going to have a positive response to it. But yeah, I think it's fun to color your hair. I think it's something that everybody should try at least once. You know, whether they like it or not, it's you know, is up to their own personal experience. But I think it's fun to try. Yeah, and yeah, it's just weird. Like I said, I don't like. I get barely any negative comments, but usually it's something surrounding something fairly trivial. You know, when you could judge the entire editing style, location, and any other choice that I've made artistically to reach out and sort of try to make um, a judgment based on my personal style seems kind of silly. Well, you could always get a head tattoo, Drew. You never know. Yeah, you do have to have hair to color it, but I mean, like I said, there's always other stuff to do. You could get some implants, some head implants. But yeah, I don't understand. But yeah, a lot of times it is used as an excuse. Anytime I'm like, oh, somebody's over there and they're watching me, people are like, well, of course they're watching you. You have blue hair. And it's like, well, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, you can always do the beard thing. People do lots of cool stuff with beards too. I've seen people dye it different colors or different, seen braided beards or beaded beards or different styles, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of neat stuff to do. But yeah, obviously that depends on your ability to grow. I could have one. I grow one real easily. I just don't really like facial hair, so I end up shaving it whenever it gets annoying, which is pretty often. Otherwise, I can probably grow it real big. I could have a really large beard if I wanted it, because it grows pretty quickly. So yeah, I've tried it in the past. Different things, goatees, beards, whatever. But I've never really cared for it in the end. So I ended up just going back to shaving it all off. Occasionally I'll let it grow out to like it is right now, but usually I just keep it clean shaven. So that's just me though. I think some people really can rock a beard well. I think it's cool. I like the people that have the big beards. You know, people like Todd from Holy Walkers. He looks really great in a beard, and I think he can do it real well. But I don't feel like I really care for it for my own personal looks. Yeah, I have really thick hair. Like it gets unmanageable. Like right the way it is now is it probably needs to be cut. Like it's almost about halfway down my nose. So I need to do something about it here soon, probably. But I'm gonna wait it for right now. It doesn't really matter while we're doing all this. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. So maybe after all this is over, we'll figure out something. Yeah, for sure. I figure I kind of wear my style and whatnot on the outside as well as the inside. Yeah, well, I mean, I've cut my own in the past. I can always do it again. I shaved my head the last time. I could always do that on stream. And put a challenge out there. If we can get to, we'll say, 150 viewers on this stream, then I'll shave my head live. But We have to get a bunch of viewers before I'm going to do that. But if you guys were to constantly share the upcoming streams to the point where we get to that level, then I will gladly go and pull out a razor and buzz my own hair again. Because yeah, the last time I did it all by myself, when I buzzed my hair last time, I just one day decided I was done with it and just cut it all off. Yeah, only mustache, only with a beard though. I would never just wear a mustache. It's just because I haven't shaved. Like, you'll never see me with just a mustache. What do we get for 15 viewers? I can't have anything special for 15 because 15 is normal. This is a remarkably low amount of viewers for this stream. Like, not that I'm complaining again. I love all you being here. But again, like, the indie stream, we had like 35 constant viewers, so I can't give prizes away for getting to under half that. But if we make it to a new milestone, because we could get 150 viewers, I feel like, pretty easily on the 539 channel. If I were to go and stream over there, the last time we did a premiere on Live 39, we did about between 100 and 120 viewers on the premiere. So, if we could get to something close like that on this channel, then I would for sure do something like that. But unless we're going to again break some record, then I'm not going to offer anything. We have to, at the very least, for anything, which is not the buzzing of the head, but for anything I were to offer, it would have to be at the very least over the 35 mark that we've made it to before. I would have to make some sort of record on the channel, because again, being the second channel, I kind of expect it to have a lot less viewers than what the primary channel has. It is kind of just sort of my core group of my biggest supporters out there, and that's one of the reasons that I do appreciate doing it over here like this. But at the same time, I know just by switching channels, I could get almost 10 times the amount of viewers. So if I'm going to offer like rewards for different levels, it's definitely going to have to perform up there. So, but maybe we'll start a stream on one of these streams, and I'll just put it in the title. And if for some freak reason a bunch of people see the title and want to join in on it and want to make it happen, then I'll make it happen. And if people just decide that they don't care, then it'll just be the title of a random stream. No, just for fun. But at the same time, I treat streams and YouTube in general just like I would any other form of entertainment. There is a certain level of, I've got to bring something to the table. I feel like it does have to be entertaining. That's what it is. At the end of the day, this is entertainment. It's something you're watching to have fun, to relax. You're not doing it for work. So it does have to be some level. There has to be some level of entertainment. I feel like I am obligated to have some level of something. So to have a reward system or some sort of contest or something like that, I feel like it just adds a level of entertainment to it, where it's just something fun to do, a challenge to see if you can hit, and if not, then you're just having fun, hanging out, talking, and just like any other stream. So, and obviously as a creator, although, I love doing what I do, I love creating, I love, sharing it with all of you. I can't lie and say there's not any desire in me that doesn't want to grow. And so to encourage growth is something that, I do admit to and I do. I'm not embarrassed of the fact that I, attempt to grow my audience. And, if I can do fun and interesting things to make it more interesting for people to stay around, then, yeah, I'll 100% do that for sure. But yeah, no, I don't think there has to be, but I think there's a certain bar where there has to be some level of entertainment, but there doesn't have to be all the extras, all the time. But I feel like it's one of those things where um, it's a good sidetrack, I guess. Something to do to just add a little bit extra. But that's for an upcoming stream here. It'll be a little while. Thanks for joining us, Bronx Boy. Appreciate you being here. You have a great night. Be safe. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that whole thing. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't mind offering that up as sort of a viewer drive, if you will. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate you. We'll, like I said, continue this conversation later on, though. Like I said, I might put it in one of the upcoming streams just as a whatever. You never know. Sometimes it actually works. Sometimes people will stick around just to see stuff like that. But, and just as I feel like as an entertainer, especially during times like this, it's important to try and offer some sort of relief to people out there who are otherwise going through a weird situation that none of us have really ever been through before. And so, if I can offer any sort of escape from that reality for just a little bit, for people to just think about something else, and that's why I try to not make these streams all about just current events and what's going on in the world, but rather to talk about other subjects and about other things, and to offer other types of entertainment, to hopefully offer all of you guys sort of a break from all of that, because there's already enough of that going on. You can turn on your TV to the nearest news station and see your fill of all the current events and all the the goings on in the world right now. And I feel like I want to make this the opposite of that. Not to ignore the situation, but at the same time not to overly focus on it. And so I want this to be a place where we can just hang out, have fun, do whatever, if it means offering some sort of silly contest like that, then that's fine. And again, like I said, it has the benefit of helping even the channel out by attracting a few extra subscribers or viewers that might not have ever watched the channel before. Maybe they're gonna tune in just to see something crazy, but at the same time they'll see something on the channel or on the main channel that they like, and then they'll stick around and be an avid watcher. And so I think it's interesting to find little ways like that to attract people, where you're not just doing the status quo. You're sort of trying different creative ways of attracting a brand new audience. So like I said, at the end of the day, I'm a creator. I am a traveler, but before travel, I've always considered myself an artist. I've always been someone that's like to just create artwork and do that in many different aspects of my life, whether it's music or photography or whatever it may be. So to me, like when it comes down to like that sort of entertainment value, doesn't necessarily have to stay on topic all the time for me. I do see the value in other types of entertainment. I just don't do it as much anymore because of the way that the algorithm sort of treats you on the platforms. So, yeah, when it comes to doing something different and trying something, if I've got a platform where I can do it, I'm going to do it. How long have I been exploring? I've been doing YouTube now. This will be my 5th year. but I have been doing stuff like I do on the YouTube channel for most of my life. You know, I've had way more experience doing sort of the adventure type travel than I have doing any type of touristy type stuff. So, and I've always been more into that. Like, it really, although maybe the rate of travel is greater now that I do YouTube, the types of locations or like adventurous type nature locations, things like that. You know, I've done stuff like that pretty much my entire life. I don't really remember a time that I wasn't doing stuff like that. So, most of my life, I would say. Like I remember even doing I first did like professional caving when I was 12. I've done like adventure travel since I was like, I don't know, 5. Where I venture like outdoors, hiking, you know, above and beyond like your touristy hikes type stuff, you know. So yeah, that would be my answer for that. Probably most of my life. I am in my 30s now. Sort of in the middle there. I'm sure I don't look like it, especially in person. I'm often surprised how much older I look on camera than I actually do in person, or how many more wrinkles I seem to have on camera. I feel like in all the 539 episodes, it always looks like I have bags below my eyes, and I probably look like, often people think I'm younger than 20 in person. So yeah, but the camera just is known to do that. You know, it's like it adds 10 years and 10 pounds, and that really is true. That's 100% true. Like if you were to meet me in person, I look a lot lighter and a lot younger. Like, it's definitely 100% true. Almost to a shocking degree, I would say. Like, I would say I look significantly younger in person. That would be strange, Craig. Yeah. I'd probably wonder. I guess I would try not to wonder too much, because then I'd be kind of being a hypocrite. But like, I think, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's almost stranger to come dressed up really fancy for no reason than just to be like dressed up average. Like, I wouldn't say average like I am, but like to be dressed like I am. But like at the same time, you know, I'd try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but that's a little odd at the very least to come so formal without any preconceived plan. I don't know. I do find that interesting. All right, but at any rate, here we've been on for over 2 hours here, and again, looks like traffic's kind of high. Things are kind of still a little bit funky here. I'm kind of hoping. It looked like things were a little bit better tonight, on average at the very least. It did seem like some of the traffic was starting to pump in a little bit more, and they were notifying a few more people. I would at the very least hope that they notify at least my normal audience to let everybody know that I'm going live. So hopefully that's happening. But it does seem a little bit like they're probably not. But it does again seem better. So hopefully the upcoming live streams will get better and better as we maybe get further and further from the one bad stream out in the trying to hike on the trails, and maybe we'll start building more and more here as the days go on. But I'm going to try and get on tomorrow if possible. It looks like at this point there shouldn't be any reason I won't. Excuse me. Like I said, I will be trying to get on during different times of the days and trying to do different things. It just really depends on what works out and what I'm able to accomplish. But I have a few different ideas, but like I said, I'm always open for other ideas as well. Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. It was fun hanging out. Um, yeah, again, with the notifications, I never really do know if they're going to work, so always make sure to, again, if you have any other forms of social media like Instagram, and you can always check on there. I do try to put updates on my stories on Instagram. And like I said, I'm going to try and do stuff either every other night or nightly. So, if you're thinking maybe it feels like I should be live, then I might be. So, you can always check the channel and see. Um, you know, um, I'm going to try and be on, like I said, as much as humanly possible. Good to have you, Joanne. Thanks for joining us tonight. But yeah, sorry, had a battery notification there. Where was I? So yeah, never can guarantee YouTube notifications. Sometimes they will happen, sometimes they won't. But again, I feel like as long as everybody knows that the plan is to do live streams more frequently now, that it'll be a little bit easier for everybody here in the future to catch the streams, knowing that there's going to be a higher likelihood that they're there. So, again, if you think about it, maybe check in just in case the notification didn't go through, or if you think about it and you have, like I said, another form of social media like Instagram or Facebook, check on there, and it should have some information up there. I usually put my intentions up there. They aren't always 100% accurate because obviously life happens sometimes, but I do make an honest effort to put up preemptive information on there. And if I put it up on Instagram, it usually goes through to both Twitter and Facebook as well, depending on the format. If I post a photo, that will go through to Facebook and to Twitter. However, if I just edit my story, that goes to Instagram and Facebook only. So I usually try and do a little bit of both. Sometimes I forget because I'm human, but like I said, I've been doing a lot better recently, and even tonight I put a notification up on Instagram right before I came up. So if you have that ability to follow me over on Instagram and you want to check out that and get notifications over there, as well as like I said, some really cool still photos from all the adventures around the country, some really awesome black and white, some selective color images. I put a lot of time doing a lot of stuff in Photoshop on some of these images, and as well as sharing film and other types of formats that I do too. So it's just a great a place in general to check out some of the other types of artwork and other areas that I create in. So make sure you check that out. And again, like I said, I will try to update everybody as soon as possible on the upcoming streams. Oh, awesome, Cheryl. That's good to know because I never know when stuff works and when it doesn't. Especially like when we have weird sort of stuff like tonight. Hey there, Anthony. Um, you, like the last few days where it's like really, really low viewership for whatever reason. It's hard to tell what's working and what's not working, and what's just an overbulk of people being on the site as opposed to, something that I might be doing wrong. So it's always good to know when people are seeing stuff from other sites or other types of posts, I guess. So, but yeah, again, I think we're going to go ahead and end it off there for tonight. I will update everybody as to what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't really know 100% at this point. I am doing still some editing on the upcoming episodes. Again, upcoming episodes on Saturday and then Tuesday, and then again on the coming Saturday a week from. So we will have some steady episodes coming out on 539, and other than that, like I said, expect hopefully nearly daily live streams here on the Mystery Channel as well. So, but yeah, thank you all for joining. Many thanks for the questions, the comments, the information, everything, and especially for just coming and hanging out and being a viewer. And yeah, so again, be on lookout for the updates as to what time specifically I will be trying to go live. And yeah, have a great rest of your night. So we still got here. There, Jeh, Linda, Joanne, Cheryl, Anthony, Craig. I don't know who all is still here, but thank you all so much for joining us. Todd. Many blessings from everyone. Stay safe out there. Make sure you're staying as distant from people as humanly possible. And I will see all of you guys in our next live stream.